The Longevity Protocol. How to stay truly alive, not just exist. Author's note: once I postponed life until Monday, but Monday never came. I kept promising myself, I'll start waking up early, on Monday. I'll take care of my body, on Monday. I'll cut off toxic people, on Monday. I'll change my life, on Monday. And then I avoided my own reflection, day after day, from Tuesday through Sunday. One day, I caught myself being afraid to wake up, not because of pain, but because of emptiness. I was alive, but I wasn't living. At some point, it dawned on me. If you don't live consciously, you die slowly. If you don't choose, someone else will choose for you. If you don't take charge of your body, habit will break it down. If you don't clear your mind, mental garbage will flood in. And if you don't wake up, the system will put you to sleep forever. This book isn't about biological longevity. It's about the survival of your soul in an age of automated existence. There's no theory here, only what works. My own path, raw, sometimes painful, sometimes as simple as a sip of water. But real. I'm not a guru, not a teacher. I'm a student of my own life, someone who nearly lost himself, but stopped just in time to see the thin line between living and standby mode. Reading this book is also a choice. Yours. So either you turn the page and start living, or you postpone again and die piece by piece. There are no more Mondays. Yaroslav Markovych. Introduction. Why I chose a different path. I am not afraid of death, but I am honestly afraid of not truly living my life. I fear waking up at 45, 60, or 80 and realizing it was all like a film without a script. No depth, no meaning, no voice of my own. That I existed, functioned, fulfilled obligations, but did not live. This book is not about eternity. Eternity is not our territory, but I have chosen to live longer and deeper, as far as my will, my body, and my decisions will allow. I don't want to run from old age. I want to meet it on my terms, unbowed, unbroken, unweary. And that is why I created my own longevity protocol. One day I woke up and realized something in my life was off. Everything seemed fine, stability, work, responsibilities, but inside there was anxiety, fatigue, and a silence that wasn't calming, only draining. I was haunted by the feeling that I was missing something essential, and that something was me. The world around lived at a frantic pace. My calendar was packed, my thoughts twitched like a taut wire, my body responded with anxiety, high blood pressure, insomnia, or just apathy. I wasn't ill, but I wasn't alive in the full sense of the word. We all live in a rhythm not made for humans. It's made for machines, but we are not machines. We break, and very often we don't even notice, because we've gotten used to surviving instead of living. I did not choose the easy path. I did not opt for trendy pills, ready-made solutions, or someone else's idea of happiness. I chose to take responsibility for my life upon myself. That meant changing not just habits, but the very logic of life. I started with the simplest thing, the morning. With a glass of spring water, with one clove of raw garlic, with a spoon of pumpkin seed oil, and with silence, the silence in which I meet myself each morning before the bustle of the world switches on. It seems like a silly trifle, but big change begins with trifles. I began to observe myself like a researcher. What gives me energy and what takes it away? What ages me, not just in body, but in thoughts? And most importantly, what helps me not just get through the day, but live it deeply, with the flavor of a true life? Step by step, I formed my longevity protocol. This is not a diet, not a set of exercises, and not just another motivational program. It's a holistic strategy that unites body, mind, and spirit. It's a system that works in real life, with real fatigue, fears, work, and schedules. It's my daily experience. It's what allows me to feel that I'm alive. Not young by passport, not fit by appearance, but alive in the sensation of being. In this book, I'm not going to teach you. I am no guru and no doctor. I'm just a person who decided not to let the system squeeze the meaning out of me. I want to share what truly works. What I have personally tested, on my body, on my thoughts, on my heart. You will find here my daily rituals that support health, clarity, and inspiration, my system of nutrition, movement, silence, reading, and creativity, my approaches to stress, pressure, medications, and alternative medicine, my intense experiences and precise conclusions after dozens of trials and errors, and most importantly, the key to creating your own longevity protocol. I'm not promising you'll live to 150, but I do promise this. If you do even part of what I write about, you will feel that you've begun to live differently, more cleanly, more deeply, more authentically. Because the point is not how many years we live, but how we live the years we have. If you're reading these lines, it means something in you has already awakened. And perhaps this book is exactly the impulse you were missing. I invite you to walk this path with me. Let's start from the first step, from the first hour, from the first truth, from the first chapter about the morning that changes everything. Chapter 1. The protocol begins with morning. The power of the first hour, what centenarians do without doctors. Every morning is like the first word of a new sentence, and the intonation of the entire sentence depends on the first word. In the same way, the rhythm of your whole day depends on the first hour after waking, and if you repeat that hour hundreds of times in a row, it will begin to shape your body, character, brain, and even your destiny. When I began seeking answers to the question of how to live not just longer, but fuller, I didn't turn to pharmacology or bioengineering. I turned to people, ordinary people, old but at the same time, alive. Those who lived 90, 100, sometimes even 110 years without daily pills, without diets, and without placing excessive hopes on medicine. I observed, I conversed, I read, I analyzed, and I realized something simple yet profound. All of them had a morning ritual. Each of them had a different ritual, but there was something in common. The first hour of the day for these people did not belong to the world, to work, or to the hustle. It was theirs, personal, quiet, purposeful. In that hour they did the most important thing. They switched themselves on. I observed an old grandmother in the Carpathian Mountains, western Ukraine, who every day at 6 in the morning walked through her garden. Not just to water the flowers, but to feel the earth, as she said. I spoke with a Japanese man in Okinawa who for 40 years has been drinking morning turmeric tea and simply sitting in silence by the window. I read about a Swiss pastor who starts each day with half an hour of silent Bible reading without a single spoken word. What unites them is not only longevity, but clarity, focus, inner balance. None of them woke up thinking, "Hurry, I'm late." None of them began the day with a news feed or a cup of coffee to wake up. They were already awake, before the coffee, before the rush. They didn't run. They had time. And because of that, they lived longer, calmer, and deeper. I used to be the opposite. Alarm clock, a leap out of bed, immediately in my head. Late again, behind again, nothing changed again. Coffee, first, second, hurry, noise, in the background, anxiety, hatred of phone calls, irritability with people. Only by evening did I take my first deep breath, but it was already too late. The day had passed. I existed but did not live. I decided to change one thing, the first thing, the first hour. I banished the phone from my bedroom. I got up 30 minutes earlier. I started with the simple silence, water, oil, garlic, prayer. No fanaticism, no show. This became my point of return to myself. I stopped entering the day as if into a fire. Now I entered it as if into a temple. And what's most interesting, there's nothing exclusive or complicated about this first hour. It doesn't require money, super diets, personal trainers, or mega motivation. It requires only one thing, a conscious choice. The choice not to wake up to the world, but to wake up to yourself. The modern pace leaves us no time, so we have to fight for it. And the best battlefield is the morning itself. Whoever controls their first hour controls the day. And whoever controls the day shapes the year. And a year, that's life, true life. My longevity protocol began precisely with this. 15 minutes with no phone. 1 glass of spring water. 1 clove of garlic. 1 spoon of pumpkin seed oil. 1 spoon of a honey nut mix. 5 minutes of silence or prayer, and another 10 minutes of nothing, just being. This is my entry into reality. Without this, I become a cog again, rather than a human. Without this, I don't live, I just exist. And I'm convinced, if you change your first hour, all the rest will change. Even if everything else remains as it is, work, schedule, obligations, something essential in you will change. The quality of perception. So do not underestimate the morning. It's not just a habit, it's an investment in life. In the next chapter, I will fully reveal the ritual at the heart of my protocol, why I chose these specific components, and how they change the body's functioning on a cellular level. And perhaps as soon as tomorrow, your morning will begin differently. My precise morning ritual: water, garlic, oils, honey, prayer. In the previous section, I shared my thoughts on how important it is to own the first hour of your day. In that hour, you can either tune yourself to life or surrender yourself to the surrounding chaos. This section is about practice, about how I myself build my day from the very start, and why exactly this way. There was a time I looked for complicated solutions. I believed in magic pills, in internet experts, in the latest top diet with detox. But the deeper I researched the mechanisms of longevity, the more I returned to the simple. The body needs respect and rhythm, not extreme experiments. And so I built a protocol based on what works with my body, daily, steadily, without force and without strain. This is not magic. It's a habit that has transformed into a system. And it looks like this. 1. I wake up. To myself, not to my phone. My phone sleeps in another room at night. I don't touch the screen for the first 30 minutes after waking. Instead, I sit on the edge of my bed, place both feet on the floor, and silently give thanks for the day. Just one sentence in my mind. I am alive, and this day is a new chance. 2. 1 glass of spring water. I drive out to the forest to collect spring water, and this is not a ritual for show. It's a form of respect for myself. Before giving my body anything else, I give it water, the source of life. Water activates the stomach, liver, brain, lymph. Water truly awakens the body, no caffeine needed. If I don't have spring water, I use boiled water at room temperature. I add a few drops of fresh lemon juice to kickstart digestion and provide a gentle alkaline effect. 3. 2 cloves of raw garlic, chopped small, not chewed. About 3 to 5 minutes after the water, I take 2 fresh garlic cloves, chop them with a knife into tiny pieces, almost like rice grains. I don't chew them, I swallow them whole, washing down with a glass of spring water. Why? Minus garlic activates allicin, a powerful compound that acts as a natural antibiotic, antifungal, and antiparasitic agent. It dilates blood vessels, lowers blood pressure, cleanses the intestines, supports the liver. And most importantly, it wakes up the immune system. Most people battle viruses, parasites, toxins for years, but garlic simply does its job every day, quietly, undramatically, effectively. 4. 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seed oil plus 1 tablespoon of milk thistle oil. After the garlic, I give the body fats, not a pastry, not a sandwich, fat that heals. Pumpkin seed oil supports the prostate, critical for men, the liver, blood vessels, and gently stimulates bile secretion. Milk thistle oil contains silymarin, one of the best-known natural detoxifiers. It doesn't just flush bile, it restores liver tissue at the cellular level. I keep these oils in dark glass bottles and take 1 tablespoon of each, or alternate them every other day. This is not just digestive support, it's lubrication for my inner engine for the whole day. 5. 1 tablespoon of nut and honey mixture. This is my alternative to the breakfast of champions. In the evening, I prepare a mixture of minus poppy seeds, white and black sesame seeds, flax seeds, ground walnuts, Brazil nuts, almonds, natural mountain honey. All of it is ground in a coffee grinder, mixed with honey and stored in a glass jar. In the morning, 1 tablespoon of this mixture plus a glass of water. It's not only a source of minerals, proteins, and fats, it's a vitamin for the brain, blood vessels, and hormonal balance. Especially for men over 35, this mixture works as a biological stabilizer. 6. Prayer, silence, Inner conversation. After everything, I do not rush off. I don't move on. I stay within myself for a moment. And in that silence, a short prayer, a few words of gratitude, breathing. For me, prayer is not a ritual. It's grounding and connection at once. It's a way to remember that I am not just a body, that I am not merely existing, I am living, consciously. Summary of the ritual. Here's a brief outline of the stages of my morning ritual. Water purifies. It activates lymph and the stomach. Garlic activates. It boosts immunity and clears the blood vessels. Oils support. They nourish the liver, stimulate bile flow, and protect the vessels. The mixture nourishes. It gives energy to the brain and maintains hormonal balance. Prayer connects. It restores inner silence and clarity. This ritual takes about 25 to 30 minutes. But it doesn't take time away. It gives me myself back. After it, I don't need to seek motivation. I am attuned, not biologically, but internally. In the next section, I'll explain why these specific components work and what happens with them at the level of your cells, blood vessels, liver, and brain. Because this protocol is not a collection of trendy actions. It's a system of influencing the body through respect, stability, and consistent care. Now, let's see how and why this system works inside you. How this affects blood vessels, brain, and energy. When I first introduced my morning ritual, I wasn't expecting a miracle. Honestly, I just wanted to break out of a vicious cycle. Anxiety, fatigue, coffee, more anxiety, even greater fatigue. I needed an anchor, and I found it. But over time it became clear that my morning protocol is not just a comforting habit. It's a mechanism that begins rebuilding the body from within, especially at the level of blood vessels, the brain, and inner energy. Vessels. Silence that flows. We rarely think about our blood vessels. Until the first stroke, or until the first angina, when there's a pressure in the chest. For a long time, I ignored the fact that constant tension doesn't exist only in the head. It's also in the blood, in the artery walls, in microcirculation. When I started practicing my morning ritual, after 2 weeks I felt something unexpected. The pressure in my head stopped, and after a month, I stopped feeling my heartbeat pounding in my temples during stress. I realized garlic was doing its job, dilating blood vessels. The oils were softening the blood, water. Dash was getting lymph moving, and silence and prayer were easing the sympathetic fight-or-flight alarm. Together, this is not just a healthy morning. It's the prevention of atherosclerosis, hypertension, and blood thickening. And not via pills, but via rhythm, consistency, gentle action. Medicine has a term, endothelial function. It's the ability of blood vessels to relax. It's a marker of cardiovascular health. And it's the first thing lost when we lose control of ourselves. My protocol returned this ability. No fanfare, no instant wow effects, but permanently. Brain, more than just thinking. Most people think the brain is just thoughts, but it's part of the body, an organ, and it's very capricious. It doesn't like when you start the day with news, screaming, coffee on an empty stomach, and frantic to-do notes. It needs nourishment, oxygen, and calm. After a month of the ritual, I started feeling that my concentration had increased. I could read longer, write more clearly, make decisions faster. I didn't become a genius. I simply removed the background noise that was preventing my brain from working. On the biochemical level, it's simple. Honey and the nut mix provide steady glucose without spikes. Fatty acids nourish neurons and the myelin sheath. Garlic reduces microinflammation, and prayer and silence shift the brain into an alpha mode, where it's not reacting to external threats, but building internal connections. This isn't mountaintop meditation. It's an ordinary morning, but one in which I don't hand my brain over to the world immediately. And that's when I felt that clarity of thought comes not as a result of strain, but from the absence of it. Energy, a source without illusions. In our world, people confuse energy with caffeine. A person says, "I have no strength," and drinks coffee. But that's not energy. That's a loan with interest. I lived on credit for a long time. Coffee in the morning, another at lunch, by evening apathy and sugar cravings. After 2 months of the protocol, I suddenly realized I didn't need coffee in the morning at all. I still drink it with pleasure, but now as a ritual, not as a savior. Energy is when you're not tired immediately after waking. You don't switch yourself on via social media or anger. Your hormones work in rhythm, not in leaps. And you're not thinking about exhaustion before lunch. Everything I do in the morning works at the cellular level of the energy cycle. Fats are long-burning fuel. Water is signal transmission. Garlic fights inflammation that steals energy. And silence stops the drain of strength into emotional defense. I don't run marathons, but I can get through the day without fighting it. And that is the greatest energy resource. Conclusion: the body hears your mornings. Blood vessels, brain, energy. 3 pillars that support our active life. And each morning, I either bolster these supports or undermine them. Before, I did it unconsciously. Now, consciously. Morning is not just about how you start the day. It's about how you program your systems to function. In the next chapter, I'll talk about how simple presence in silence, a first prayer, and a deep inhale connect the body, mind, and spirit. And why without these, even the best supplements don't work. Because a true longevity protocol isn't just about physiology, it's about feeling alive.